Will this be the end of Jeep? Jeep has been dealing with lots of problems lately, but now Toyota is coming in with a new $20,000 SUV. This is huge news because it will be going up against Jeep's bestseller, the Wrangler. But that is not all. Jeep has already been losing sales, popularity, and they've been getting a bad reputation. Toyota is aiming to capitalize on that. They already have the winning strategy. If we're being honest, it's only a matter of time till it happens. Let me explain. So, what is really happening? The Land Cruiser is making a huge comeback, and that's not the only SUV that Toyota is releasing to the market. They're making another SUV that looks very similar, and many people are already calling it the Mini Land Cruiser. But if we're being honest, it has so many different features. But what does that have to do with Jeep? Well, let me ask you, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the name Jeep? For most people, it's off-roading and the legendary Jeep Wrangler. But things have been getting very bad for Jeep. And we're not saying this because the competition has been getting fierce. No, it goes deeper than that. Overall, Jeep's sales volumes have declined by 30% over the last 4 years. They've been around for almost a century. This year marks their 80th year. And back in the days when you thought of American brands, Jeep used to be the first name that popped into your mind. So why are there more Jeep cars piling up in dealership lots than any other brand? And it seems like no one wants to buy a Jeep. If you're a fan or even remember their reputation, this seems impossible. But don't take our word for it. Look at this video and tell me you still don't believe this. Now, let's look at the numbers because numbers don't lie. Jeep has a 77-day supply in its lots, and the national average is 53 days. But that doesn't show the real big picture. We should be comparing Jeep to their main rivals. Toyota and Honda have only 27 and 28 days of supply respectively, which is just absurd when you think about it. But that is not all. GMC has 63 days, Chevy has 50, and Hyundai has 49. The only major brand with such large numbers as Jeep is Ford, with a 76-day supply, and we all know what Ford is going through. This means Jeep's popularity is diminishing. We're not saying high inventory is a bad thing by itself. It's a good thing if the car is so popular that people just want more. But that is not the case here. Even their own fans have been switching sides. In the first half of the year, only 43% of Jeep owners traded their car for another Jeep, which might seem good, but this number has been declining for years, and it only seems to continue its downward trend. Jeep sold around 684,000 vehicles, which is a 10% decline from 2022. And 25% of the sales only come from the Wrangler, and even the number is declining. But why? There are two main reasons. The first reason is that the Wrangler was designed with a specific off-roading purpose in mind. But the rugged and tough exterior appeals to all kinds of drivers. However, the Wrangler is not made for that, especially the older models. It doesn't perform well in an urban environment. Now, this is not the only reason why Jeep is going towards a doomsday, so watch carefully. It is made to be driven through tough places. The Wrangler offers undeniable off-road capability, but most Wrangler owners don't even want that. According to a recent study, 72% of Wrangler owners are male, and 92% of them have kids. An average Wrangler owner's salary is around $115,000 a year, and 94% have homes. I'm talking about this to show you how different a Wrangler owner is compared to another off-road SUV owner. It's one of the high-end SUVs, but despite that, the Wrangler is not reliable. It's made with not that great body parts, and some people have complained about the loose panels inside. Now, the Wrangler is known for being the unreliable off-road SUV. But that's not all bad electronics acting up while driving. Fuel pump issues, transmission troubles, and axle headaches are just a few of the issues with the Wrangler. But this has only happened to a small number of customers. One thing that is obvious is that this SUV lacks serious safety features. If you think about it, it really doesn't need it since it's not made for urban environments. But the people who drive a Wrangler mostly drive inside the city, and for a demographic like it has, this is a huge turnoff. The Wrangler appeals to a higher-income American who likes all the rugged features and capabilities. Does that sound familiar? The Toyota Land Cruiser has the same appeal, but a better reputation for reliability. Maintaining a Wrangler costs about $694 a year. Compare that to the average of all the cars at $652, and the chances of a repair being a real headache are 16%, while other cars are at 12%. So it's only a matter of time until another SUV comes in to steal Jeep's loyal customers, and that time is now. The only thing holding the Land Cruiser back was the size difference. The Land Cruiser is huge compared to the Wrangler, but the 2024 model has been reduced in size, and if what you want is an even smaller SUV, then there is the Mini Land Cruiser. But there is another reason why the Wrangler's last days are near, and that is strict emissions regulations. The Jeep Wrangler has been through the emissions ringer. In Europe, the two-door version has been banned due to stricter regulations. Now, across the pond, here in certain US states, Jeep parent company Stellantis is shuffling the deck for some ideas. They're focusing on plug-in hybrids for some places and sticking with gas for others, all thanks to differing emissions rules. California in particular is throwing a curveball, influencing Stellantis to trim down Jeep production in anticipation of lower gas-powered vehicle sales. In fact, they've stopped stocking certain gas-powered Wranglers in 14 states. Wrangler has been caught up in the emission regulation shuffle. So while the traditional gas-only Wranglers are still available in some places, the wheels are turning toward a greener direction in specific states. The 2024 Land Cruiser and the Mini Land Cruiser, on the other hand, are coming with a hybrid configuration that surely satisfies most, if not all, states. The second reason for Jeep's failure is actually a bit complicated. It starts with the competition. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler hit the stage in April, and if you're wondering about updates, Jeep kept things familiar with the 2024 model that hit the stage in April. No frame tweaks, just minor body adjustments for crash safety, and a new Dana 44 HD full-float rear axle, Rubicon trims with factory winches, 2 fresh wheel designs, and a tweaked front fascia. The main competitors, like we said, are the Land Cruiser and the Mini one. And that is not all. Ford and Jeep have been in competition with the Bronco and Wrangler for such a long time. The difference now is that Toyota is coming to their competition with a very different strategy. If you like the high-end feeling, then Toyota offers the same level of quality, if not better, with the 250 series. But if you don't want such a big SUV, then Toyota has got you covered with the Mini Land Cruiser. And don't be fooled by its size, this thing is very capable. So let's talk about the numbers. Engine choices for the 2024 Wrangler include a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder, a 3.6-liter V6, a plug-in hybrid, and a hefty 6.4-liter V8. The V8 fits in nicely with a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed auto, while the other 3 stick to automatic. There is no turbo diesel for the 2024 model. You can get around 470 horsepower and nearly 500 pound-feet of torque if you go for the Rubicon 392 trim. But if you go for the 4xe, you'll get 21 miles of EV driving, 49 miles per gallon, and go from 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. The new Mini Land Cruiser is expected to share the same engine options as the RAV4, which has gasoline, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid versions. These engines are expected to provide enough power and efficiency for the compact SUV. But that's not all. There could be an all-electric version available. However, the bigger Land Cruiser comes with a much more powerful and capable engine. Plus, you can get the iForce Max hybrid system across all trim levels. This system combines a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with an electric motor and a 10-speed automatic transmission. It delivers 325 horsepower and an impressive 465 pound-feet of torque. Although the horsepower is lower than the Wrangler, it still has some decent torque, which is more useful for off-road driving. So now, if you want the Wrangler's capabilities, you can have that with Toyota's reliability. You see, the car market is going through changes. If companies adapt to it like Toyota is doing, then they can profit even more than they have been. Jeep needs to adapt and give the Wrangler a unique selling point, just like the old times. If they don't, they will fail. It is inevitable. But it doesn't seem like they're willing to embrace this new era, and that is the second reason why they're in this place. Now, let's talk about something else. The price wars. The Wrangler starts at $36,900, but the top tier, the Rubicon 392, starts at $90,500. The base 2024 Bronco starts at $39,100 for the Big Bend trim, and the highest trim starts at $89,300. And the Land Cruiser starts at around $55,000, which is $25,000 less than the previous model. But the Land Cruiser Mini is expected to start around $20,000 to $25,500 approximately. Now I know that sounds close to impossible, but their strategy says it all. What will be the point of making a smaller SUV for a higher price when they already have a flagship, very popular and capable SUV with a similar design and appeal that starts around $50,000? This makes sense. That is why we're saying this could be the end of Jeep. They don't have a good sales number, and their best-selling car is stuck between a rock and a hard place. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments, and if you want to know more about the new Mini Land Cruiser, watch the video we already made. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.